I just rewatched the movie Idiocracy, you know, the one from 20 years ago starring Luke Wilson, and I can already see signs of that happening in real life. Think about it. We have YouTubers, streamers, gamers. These people are getting all the praise, all the notoriety for doing dumb, stupid things on the internet. Dumb pranks, publicity stunts. There are literally people out there pouring money into these people. I just saw today that, I think it was Kai Cenat. He's like I don't know if he's a gamer or a YouTuber, but he's got so many celebrities in his corner just giving him money. I believe he got Kevin Hart, all these major celebrities on his show. Since when did YouTubers have all this game? Like, when did they start to become the heads of entertainment? I mean, back in the day, we looked up to people, you know, like Robert Redford, who just passed away, right? Meryl Streep, these kind of people that actually studied in Juilliard and all these things and are creatives, but they're much more studied in how they're going about doing their art. They're not just jumping on the internet and doing dumb challenges. Think about it. We started with the Cayenne challenge. I remember seeing, oh, I don't remember who the lady's name was, but my daughter used to watch. And she did a Cayenne challenge where she's eating cayenne pepper. Some of these are for good cause.
I've been called out by everybody for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
But doing these stupid things on the internet, they like stupidity, they like violence, they like sex, they like hurting themselves. And people can barely read or write. And so now the standards are gone. People are just turning to YouTube, dumbing themselves out and watching all of the stupidity. In the movie, I was reminded that retards, they called people retards. But ironically, they're the ones that stood out for being smarter than the masses. So now you had, instead of 80% of the population that could read or write, you have 20% of the population that could read or write, and they were seen as a retard. Another takeaway from this movie that had me cracking up was corporations had taken over everything. Food, energy, even government. All of these areas of our life was taken over through a parody brand called Brondo. Who even came up with that name? And it reminds me that we're not really far off from what we see now. Our entire culture is already given over to corporations, to private equity firms, and consumerism. Another part of the movie that stood out was the huge mounds of trash everywhere. In fact, that was what started the entire decline of humanity, was this huge, giant heaping piles of trash. They couldn't store trash anywhere anymore. And it reminds me of what we're dealing with now with fast fashion, cheap prices for endless trash. Just because here in America or in first world countries, we don't see the trash visibly in front of us doesn't mean it doesn't exist. A lot of the trash gets dumped, or they dump it into oceans, they take it to other parts of the world. This is what I've heard, is they store our trash for us. The scary part is the movie predicted this happening in 2500, the year 2500, that society would completely collapse. I mean, these people weren't even really able to articulate full sentences. And think of how we are now with all of the emojis to communicate, or really dumbing ourselves down to using slang in every situation. You know, bruh has become a part of our everyday vocabulary. But I don't think it's going to take that long. I think at the rate things are going, we could be there in 2090 or even sooner. Why? Because the people who value education and careers often put off having kids. That was something else that was obvious in this movie, was that those with less stability are having children nonstop. And that imbalance is exactly how Idiocracy begins. Even I catch myself mocking nerds sometimes. People like Jordan Peterson, who can come off pompous or overly intellectual. And in a society that's dumbing itself down, intelligence feels annoying, almost painful to listen to. People would rather watch someone get hit in the you know what, or a monster truck crashing cars than hear ideas that make them have to think. Sure, this movie is exaggerated with prostitution, clueless lawyers, and caveman politics, but honestly, look at parts of the world right now with rampant crime, poverty, trash piling up, and collapsing systems. Some of these movie scenes could easily be mistaken for real life footage today. So yeah, Idiocracy isn't just a satire movie anymore. It's a warning. And when I look at how fast things are sliding, I don't think we've got 500 years before it hits. We are already on track.